Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, or even if you just want to outsmart me on something I said, go ahead, shoot me a call, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. Now, speaking of this episode, we got a lot of good stuff coming up, man. Obviously, the MVP conversation in the NBA, that's happened. My Cubs is doing pretty good so far this season. Still holding it up, which you love to see. But the New York Knicks still punching teams in the mouth. And that's where we're going to stop the ship. Because we got to talk about this, man. The Knicks, this is like the most New York-ass team that there is, bro. They're playing just like a New York Knicks team. And when you think of the Knicks, especially like later or early in the past, that the playoffs and stuff, back in the day with Patrick Ewing, John Starks, all of those guys, you think toughness, right? You think, the Knicks are a tough team. They're physical. They play like, they're bullying Jordan, trying to push him down and fight the Pistons. This is pretty much that same Knicks team. And it's always fun seeing the Knicks win. I will say I'm not a Knicks fan, nothing like that. I probably never will be, but it's very entertaining to see them win because right now, each win that the Knicks get, the fans are just tripping. It's wild. The internet is in a frenzy. And if you're not on Knicks Twitter, Knicks Facebook, whatever, you need to get on there because Knicks fans is just insane. They're pretty much the Cowboys of the NBA. Knicks fans are entertaining as hell. It's a wild place there after every single Knicks win. And maybe it's the same way with the Giants or Jets. I just haven't caught on. Who knows? But definitely with the New York Knicks, oh my gosh, this is a wild, wild scene every time they win. But the thing that's even cool, and it's going to get better for the Knicks fans, is the New York Knicks, they're about to beat the Pacers in 5 games. Whew, crazy. But they play better defense. They grab crucial rebounds, and they have an aggressor on the offensive end, which is going to help them a lot in Jalen Brunson. But even though it may not show for the offensive rebounds and the rebounding in the game, man, when you break it down into the stretches of the game, like when teams need extra possessions and when the Knicks need to get the ball back to score, they somehow always end up getting the ball back to score. Because if you look at the totals, it looks fairly even. If you don't watch the game and you just look at the stats, you're going to see, what do you mean the Knicks are dominant on the boards? They got the same amount of rebounds. They're getting out-rebounded by the Pacers. What do you mean? Yeah, I know they don't tell the whole story, but looking at the eye test and when you watch these games, you will see exactly what I mean. If you watch a New York Knicks game, you'll see Josh Hart literally flying from the three-point line to grab a rebound, flying from the other side of the court to grab a rebound. OG Anunoby doing the same thing, flying across the court to grab a rebound and pass the ball right back to Jalen Brunson so he could be the one to shoot. Because he's the offense. Jalen Brunson is the offense, which I'll touch on in a second. But literally, the Knicks are winning these games. They beat the Philadelphia 76ers by punching them straight in the face. And they're beating the Indiana Pacers by doing the same thing, by literally just punching them in the face and being more aggressive. They're winning the 50-50 balls. They're grabbing the crucial rebounds. They play defense, and they pass the ball to Jalen Brunson to score. None of these teams have been able to stop Jalen Brunson, which I'll tell you why in just a second. But the Knicks aren't stacked offensively. They don't have a beret of three-point shooters or a stacked roster full of three-point shooters. They don't have ISO players who can create a shot anytime. No, they literally just play like they want it more. And this is what's been helping them because each time they're going to fight for the loose balls. And the best believe they're going to get the loose balls if it's out there. So you got to keep that in mind. But once they grab the ball, what do? Pass to Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson here, he is the guy. He is the guy that's orchestrating the Knicks offense and ultimately why the Knicks are having a lot of success. And offensively, teams are letting this guy go 1v1 each time. And I just don't understand it. Because a guy like Brunson, if you let Jalen Brunson go 1v1 every time, it's going to result in a bucket every single time he goes 1v1. That's just what's been happening, and that's what's going to continue to happen if you don't bring an extra defender. I need to see some sort of adjustment. I failed to see Philadelphia make the adjustment of bringing a double team toward Jalen Brunson or blitzing him or just like throwing a different look at him to get the ball out of his hands. So yet the Indiana Pacers are doing the same exact thing. They're not getting the ball out of Jalen Brunson's hands, and this is what's hurting them because not only is the Pacers offense a little stagnant, which I'll touch on, give me some time, but the defensive end is really what's killing them. We've seen, I think it's Tyler O'Connell. We've seen O'Connell. He locked up. He was playing great defense on Brunson, holding his own, making Brunson work, and that's the best thing you can hope for when you're playing against a great defender. But it's kind of messed up that they leave that guy on the island the whole time. Or when he comes out the game, they go back to letting Halliburton get chopped up or whoever else is guarding Brunson get chopped up. No, with great players, you are idiotic if you have the chance to double and get the ball out of their hands. You're idiotic if you don't do it. You got to take advantage of these things. Because if not, they're going to continue to score over and over and over again. And now you're going to find yourself down 12 with 4 minutes left in the game. And their starter caught fire. Now he's not missing a single shot at all. So you got to switch some things up. And that's what I'm witnessing from the Indiana Pacers. They have yet to switch it up. I think one game they'll get it right. But other than that, Knicks, they're going to continue to punch him in the mouth. And then on the offensive end, Indiana Pacers is in trouble. They're in trouble. Oh my gosh. This offense, this is not what we've seen earlier in the season, even in the in-season turn. This is not the offense that I'm used to seeing from the Indiana Pacers, bro. They need an aggressor. It's been bothering me watching his team play because they have so much talent and they're filled with so much talent of Siakam and Halliburton on the same team and even Turner. Like they have so much talent on this team, but it's been bothering me because nobody is an aggressor. And I put this on the blame of Halliburton because he's the one with the dominant skill set, probably one of the most skillful guys on that Indiana Pacers team, but yet he's not being aggressive and making sure this offense has opportunities to score outside of him. And what I mean by that is that if Halliburton starts rolling, he starts balling out like he did in the first half of game 2, where he had 22 points at half, it makes it easier for other guys to get involved in the game because now all the attention is on Halliburton to score. So then, yeah, you have a Pascal Siakam who can create easier opportunities or catch and shoot or get easy drives to the bucket. You have an Evan Turner who's going to play baseline and get an easy bucket. You have guys who can where the game can open up for them. But without that, without one person being aggressive, you don't have to worry about anybody. Everybody's being passive. And that's what's hurting the Knicks right now because Halliburton taking one shot in the third quarter? Are you kidding me, bro? Are you kidding me? That's not good enough. I think he took a minimum of 2 shots in the fourth quarter. Didn't really let it fly like that. So don't quote me on the fourth quarter amount of shots, but 1 shot in the third quarter is absolutely ridiculous when the game is close. And you've been aggressive in the first half. So we need to see more out of Tyrese Halliburton. And I think he's going to open up the game for a lot of his teammates. But somebody has to be an aggressor. And they definitely got to play a lot better defense on Brunson and defending him because that's literally why the Knicks are scoring. That's why you see Josh Hart, DiVincenzo getting their buckets because by the time Brunson has already opened up the game and made the focus on him, teams are trying to adjust to that. They're paying more attention to what Brunson is doing on the floor, leaving opportunities for Josh Hart to get an easy layup in the lane, leaving opportunities for DiVincenzo to get an easy open three-pointer. So, hey, man. And then best thing, easy or a good defense creates that easy offense. And I've been noticing that with the New York Knicks as well. But look, man, I got a quick clip of DiVincenzo. This is him after game 2. So DiVincenzo, he had a comment to say about Jalen Brunson's injury. As you know, Brunson, he missed the whole second quarter of game 2. And the man still finished with 30 points. Which crazy, which is insane. But anyway, this is DiVincenzo on Jalen Brunson and that next up mentality.
I think there's a blueprint here that Tibbs has laid out, and no matter who's on the court, everybody follows, that and doesn't go outside of themselves. So no matter, who's in the game, we know what we're looking to get. And, any game that we play, as long as we defend and we rebound and we have low turnovers, we can win any game. And, that was the mindset tonight. We hit them in the mouth, and then they came right back in the second quarter and took a lead. I don't know what we were down at halftime, but, we're in the locker room like, we're going to win this game still. We got to do, we got to defend, we got to rebound, limit their second chances, and, and then play our offense, not get outside of ourselves, and that's exactly what we did. So, whoever we have on the court, it's the same thing.
All right, man, look, we got a quick side note here. The Phoenix Suns, they fired their head coach, Frank Vogel, after getting swept in the first round of the playoffs to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Frank Vogel, he's the second coach in the past 2 weeks to get fired in the NBA. First was Darvin Ham with the Los Angeles Lakers, and then Frank Vogel, we just seen him go. But Vogel, he coached 2 seasons for the Suns, and apparently they said it was time for him to be done. I'm not necessarily upset about this, but I can't help but to observe the fact that coaching in the NBA is probably the most unsecure job in the market right now. Like, they tell you, hey, go to school, get you a good job and get something that's going to be sustainable. Man, coaching in the NBA got to be the worst gig for anybody on a professional level because, man, you mess up one season. Actually, it's not even one season. You start off, you in a hot seat. You start off in a hot seat, especially if your team has potential. Man, they don't even let coaches develop now. They don't even let coaches, get used to the personnel that they have on a team before they fire them. And to me, it's disturbing because I look at this like you don't know what gym you have unless you give it time to develop. If you don't dust the dirt off the gym, you don't know if it's gonna shine. Like you don't know what type of rock it is. It could be a diamond you sitting on, but because it had a little dirt on it that didn't come off on the first wipe, you thinking, oh, it's time to go find another. So I'm hoping that we begin to see this in the NBA where, a lot of coaches, they're getting fired, but I'm hoping we see these guys get jobs and go on to have somewhat of a successful season, career, whatever with that team. And I know Nick Nurse with the Philadelphia 76ers, I kind of wanted them to win just for that fact because he was fired from the Toronto Raptors and then, he went to coach the 76ers. And I was hoping to see some sort of progression. And, it was a tough series against the Knicks. They got punched in the face, as I mentioned in the previous segment. But ultimately, I would love to see someone have, somewhat of a successful season after being fired in the NBA because, man, they letting guys go quick, man. And it's crazy because it was never like this at one point. Like, I just think, like, if Steve Kerr didn't win the first year he was a head coach, would they have tried to fire him? If Greg Popovich, like, he had a couple more bad seasons, they didn't draft Wemby, and if he had a couple more bad seasons, would they be trying to fire him? Eric Spoelstra, all of these great coaches, I mean, they take time to develop too, just like the players. So it's kind of crazy to me that, the NBA, the GMs and stuff are so quick to get these guys out of here, man. It's mad wild. But anyway, the Suns, they've been talking right now about the Milwaukee Bucks former head coach, Mike Budenholzer. He was a great coach. He helped the Milwaukee Bucks win a championship when he was there. So that could be a potential look for the Phoenix Suns. Right now, there's been multiple rumors and reports that Budenholzer may be the ideal coach for the Phoenix Suns, but it's kind of a rough situation for him because the Phoenix Suns, they don't have any direction. And this is going to hurt his stock. Like, I mean, he won a championship. Frank Vogel won a championship with the Lakers, and they let him go. So, yeah, I don't know. Rough game for coaches in the NBA. But that's just a quick side note. Anyway, look, man, go ahead, shoot me a quick take, 219-413-9405 for the voicemail line. We do have a voicemail caller. I'm going to go ahead and play it back.
Yo, what up, dog?
What's the deal?
Hey, when I looked in my rearview mirror and I looked at myself, and I said, hey, good job. I felt great. But when I went in to work, and I fist bumped myself in the mirror, I felt amazing. Look, I don't know where you inherited your wisdom from. You're using it well.
Well, I'm glad. Hey, man, you know what? First off, I'm glad you actually tried it. So for context, for anybody listening, at the end of the episode, I said, hey, what you want to do, just to try something new. I always try and end on a positive note. Maybe you don't hang around to the end of the episode, but I always encourage it. I said, look yourself in the mirror, tell yourself, good job. It's rare that we actually tell that to ourselves. We tell other people, good job, you're doing your thing, keep doing what you're doing. But how often do we tell ourselves that? So that was the advice that I gave. And, he called, he said, hey, he looked himself in the mirror and told himself good job, and he felt great. So, I did it myself. And I think, hey, you should definitely try it. It was a positive impact on me. And, it makes you feel great a little bit. Just giving yourself some props for the things that you do. So, and a lot of times, man, the wisdom don't even come from, what's crazy? I don't know where the wisdom comes from. I think it's just like multiple sources, but ultimately gotta go back to parents, man. Gotta go back and thank the parents for just, kind of giving me an attitude to always be open to learning and listening, because that's ultimately where it came from. I just listen to a lot of different things. I read different things, and whatever I hear that's good, positive information, I try and take little pieces of that and just kind of put it in the bag, So, I mean, hey, that's where it comes from. I always recommend, just being a good listener, really, for anybody, man. Definitely be a good listener, because you just don't know what can help you and how it can help you. But look, I'm not going to go on too long. We got some more stuff to cover. We got some news coming up in just a second. Obviously, shoot us a call, 219-413-9405. Some news coming up in that MVP conversation as well. So don't go anywhere, and we will be right back. It's halftime. Now, before halftime, of course, got to take me a couple of sips of tea. It's time to reset. So let's have a conversation, I guess. Let's do that. Let's have a conversation. I don't know if I'm going to do this every time. I really don't care to do it every time. And I don't want it to be like it has to be done. He didn't have the conversation, or you have to have a conversation. I just want it to be genuine. So that's really why I'm doing it. But no, man, what's been going on in the week? What's today? It's about to be Friday when y'all hear this. I promise we're going to get to the news in a sec, but it's going to be Friday. Whew, okay. For the week, man. I had a great week so far. I watched the Tom Brady roast on Netflix. That was pretty dope. I do need some more recommendations on shows, though, because I find myself rewatching the same shows over and over. One of the shows that I've kind of been obsessed with for some years is the Avatar. Avatar The Last Airbender, not the blue people Avatar. Avatar The Last Airbender, bro. I don't care what nobody say. That show's fire. Show's fire. I'm well above the age for it, but that show's fire. Man, the creativity behind it is amazing. So I would love some, more recommendations on shows and stuff. I watched The Wire too. I need to get back into it. I got one more season of The Wire. Top Boy on Netflix was another show. What else? I haven't watched it this week though, but just a couple random things. But this is, random ass thoughts. So, I just appreciate, anybody listening. So I want to try and give you some whatever, just a piece of me, some more of, that sounds crazy, but just some more stuff that has been going on as I take my quick break and reset. But the whole point of me resetting, which is wild, is not to talk, to sip this tea and get ready for the news. So I'm gonna do that. All right. It's news time. Let's jump into the news, man. All right, let's get into it, man. News for the run. Starting off with FIFA. The Champions League final is set. After defeating Bayern 2-1, Real Madrid, they will advance to the final to play Dortmund for football's most prestigious trophy. And this is football. Football. Real Madrid, they've been killing it, man. I love what they've been doing. These last-minute goals that I've been seeing from Real Madrid are lovely, lovely. I was watching the game with my guy. We were watching the Real Madrid and Bayern, and this was crazy because in the 90th minute, it was an additional 4 minutes on the clock. In the 90th minute, they scored a goal. In the 88th minute, they scored a goal. So it was absolutely insane, but I loved that game. It was great. Nikola Jokic, he's won his third MVP award in the NBA, and now Jokic has won 3 of the last 4 MVP awards in the NBA. So congrats to Nikola Jokic. A lot of people didn't think that he deserved the award, but hey, man, he ended up winning. He received the most votes for it, and I'll crack that down in just a second, kind of give you a breakdown of all the votes and stuff and what I think about what was fair and what was not. But anyway, man, let's jump into the playoff picture because a lot of playoff games are going on. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they're leading the Denver Nuggets right now 2-0, and you can catch that game tonight, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The New York Knicks, they'll also be playing the Pacers on Friday. The Knicks, they lead the Pacers 2-0. The Boston Celtics, they just got upset in a game at home against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So now that series is tied 1-1. And as of right now, we are watching the Dallas Mavericks battle it out with the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's 25 seconds left in this game. It's looking like the Oklahoma City Thunder are about to lose. So that means I'm correct because I said the Dallas Mavericks is going to win this series in 5. So good to see the Dallas Mavericks steal a game from the Thunder at home. Anyway, look, man, let's go ahead and jump into the Cubs. So the Cubs, really quick about the Chicago Cubs, bro. Big game from Imanaga. He's been doing his thing. They recently just lost the series against the Padres. I'm not really pressed about it, but we've seen extreme promise for the Chicago Cubs so far. Cody Bellinger in his first game back, he had 3 hits and he hit a homer. Bush hit a huge walk-off in this series. That was crazy. And the Cubs, they won 3-2. But there's been a lot of different things, with the Cubs that's raising speculation of expectations, really, and what type of expectations we should have for the season. First and foremost, let's talk Cy Young. Shota Imanaga, in that series, or it was the second game against the Padres, he pitched 7 innings, had 8 strikeouts, only 2 earned runs, and he currently has the lowest ERA in all of baseball, which is 1.08. This is the best in the MLB. So I'm saying you got to give this guy to Cy Young. You got to at least have the conversation because there's other people in the league that's doing this, but nobody that has this low of an ERA, in this many games that's been played. So, I want to give credit to Shota Imanaga, bro, really just showing that he is the best pitcher in the MLB this season up to this point. There was a lot of speculation about so many other pitchers in the league of what they're going to do. Yamamoto from the Dodgers, he had a lot of speculation. Obviously, Ohtani had a lot of speculation as well, and those guys are still great, not to discredit them at all, but Imanaga was kind of slept on, and at least maybe to me, maybe I didn't have the expectations of expecting Imanaga to go out here and do what he's been doing, but he's been balling, man. I think this is great for the Cubs. This is going to help them ultimately win their division. It's going to probably be even more than that. Who knows? But they're getting Suzuki back. It's going to help a lot. But I think it's possible the Cubs win their division just kind of for the fact that the main competition right now is the Brewers. They're the biggest competition that the Cubs have in this division, and they've been playing great. They got some guys on their team who's been really balling out this season. Hoskins, he's leading their team in home runs. Contreras, he's been doing good, playing great. But I don't think either team, whether it's the Cubs or Brewers, would wash each other in games. But, it's kind of going to be a battle either way. So with that being said, I think at least the Cubs have a shot to win their division. Coming into the season, we didn't know how we were going to look. I don't think we expected Imanaga to pitch the way he's been pitching. We knew Bush was, had a lot of potential. We knew he was going to be somewhat decent, but he's been playing on another level. And, ultimately, man, this is great for the Cubs. This is great for the Chicago Cubs. Anyway, look, man. Hey, let's move on real quick because the conversation that you were probably waiting on and the conversation that a lot of us was waiting to have is Nikola Jokic, man. Nikola Jokic, he got himself another MVP, and he joined a small group of NBA stars to win 3 MVPs. This group got guys like Wilt Chamberlain, LeBron, Michael Jordan, Kobe, Larry Bird, and a few more people too. But Nikola Jokic now joins this elite club of NBA MVPs. And people want to have the conversations now, like, is he one of the best centers to ever do it? Is he one of the best bigs to ever do it? I don't think it's time to have that conversation just yet. Maybe get a few more MVPs and then we can have a conversation. Definitely get a few more championships. And of course we can have the conversation. But, despite people hating on Jokic for winning the MVP, personally, I don't think he should have won the MVP. But I want to look at the votes before I discuss, why he should or shouldn't have won the MVP. This thing is absolutely crazy. Looking at the votes. Jokic received 78 first place votes for the MVP award. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who a lot of people thought should have won MVP, and I thought he should have won MVP just based on star power and his skill set that he has. 15 first place votes in the NBA. Luka Doncic, another guy who I heavily vouched for, only 4 first place votes in the NBA. This is disgraceful. So Jokic 78 first place votes, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander 15, and Luka 4. This is insane, bro. And when I'm looking at this stuff, I'm like, okay, the people with the votes, what are we really basing this off of? Because looking at it, I'm like, it has to be stats. In order to give Nikola Jokic another MVP, it has to be strictly stats, because based on what I think the most valuable player is in the NBA, it's someone who's not a boring player. It's someone who has a great talent, and the league would be in danger if this guy did not play all season. When I think of this, the league would not be in danger if Jokic didn't play all season. We would miss the numbers and the statistics, but no, we would still have a lot of entertainment, because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a very entertaining young man that when he's playing in the NBA, this man is crazy. But most valuable player to me means like if this guy went down, if someone went down in the league is gonna be hurt. People are not gonna care as much. People won't be as entertained of the matchups that we're going to be watching. I don't see that being Nikola Jokic, bro, because he's a boring player. And as much as I think Luka deserved it, he's not really the MVP either, because he's kind of a boring player too. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he has the skill set for it and he has the star power for it. The guy is a force on the court and off the court because of what he's been doing, man. And this season, he's completely taken over. And as I've been saying, this is a young man's game now, bro. The game is changing. Between Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, these guys are really running the league, and they're carrying us right now of the entertainment perspective outside of just what the numbers are presenting. But when you're looking at guys who genuinely enjoy the game and what they're bringing to the game, man, hey, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander should have won MVP for sure. So anyway, congrats to Jokic. Congrats to Jokic. It's still well-deserved. The man did his thing. He balled out. Damn near averaged a triple-double again. Crazy. But anyway, look, man, I'm going to leave y'all with this because I've talked enough. I'm done. At this point, I'm tired as fuck. I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to leave y'all with this positive note because I always want to leave y'all with something, especially on a great Friday if y'all listening. Anyway, look, man, so I'm going to just say this. Be nice, bro. Be nice. Be positive to someone. Try it today. Be positive. Be nice to somebody, whether you know them, whether you don't know them, whether it's your closest partner, your closest friend, whatever the case is, bro. Just be nice to them and show kindness to others, because you never know who's going to need it. And this includes yourself. So maybe be kind to yourself in some way that you have to, but definitely you want to spread joy, because the energy that we give to other people is what's going to come back to us. I'm just a firm believer in that. But, I say be nice to people, bro. You just don't know what kind of day they're going through. You don't know what they had going on in their day, in their week, in the month. Like, it could be anything. So, you just being kind in a small, simple way, like they could, it can make their whole day. It can make their whole day. Like, for example, is why I usually don't use examples, but I was waiting for a parking spot, pulled up to the guy, like, hey, are you leaving? He said, yeah, in just a second. And I looked at him. It's just something super simple. I'm like, yeah, go ahead, take your time, bro. Do your thing. Just take your time, whatever. And he looked at me, smiled hard as hell. In a way, it was kind of creepy. Not gonna lie. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what did I say to this man? But all I said was, take your time. Like, go ahead, take your time, brother. Whatever, do you. This man smiled hard at me, got in the car. As he was about to pull off, he got back out, looked at me and said, were you in the army? I said, nah. I said, no, I wasn't in the Army. He said, you're so patient. Like, I really appreciate that, man. It's hard to, like, you don't find that nowadays. He was like, I appreciate that. I'm like, I'm just looking at it like, no problem, bro. But, I couldn't help but to think, like, maybe he was just having a rough day. Like, you just don't know what type of day people have, bro. You don't know what they got going on. So, all that being said, man, just be kind. Show somebody kindness on this weekend. And that's what I want you to take into the weekend. Be kind to somebody, whether it's your closest friend, your closest partner, your dearest friend, all of that. Be kind to them. And hey, definitely make sure you send them this episode too. Send them this episode, man, because I'm done, man. I ain't gonna hold y'all no more. Send this to a cousin, a brother, an aunt, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, anybody you know will enjoy this. Maybe I talked about their team, their player, something that made you think of them. Go ahead, send it to them. I promise you they not gonna mind. In worst case, they just won't listen, and who cares, whatever. Anyway, man, that's all I got for y'all. Follow me on Instagram at The Run Podcast. You can follow my personal as well at I am Manny Wilson. And until then, man, we will be back later on next week. And so on and so on and so on.